Hi everyone, this video is about long-term relationships and marriage. After my last video on Rahu and Venus, I have got lots of questions from my friends and a lot of you all and all my audience on marriage and long-term relationships. So I'm going to talk about that in detail. So pay attention. There are no chart analysis because I couldn't find charts with long-term marriages. How unfortunate is that, right? So if you have charts of celebrities, I found a couple of them, and maybe in a couple of days I will do a chart analysis and I will show those charts to you. If you have any celebrity charts with the time of birth that have long-term, when I'm saying long-term, about 25, 30 years of happy marriage without any controversies. All right. So please send me those charts and I'll analyze them. And this video will have a few techniques where you can look at your own charts and your fiance's charts or your partner's charts and figure out whether your chart has the capabilities of a long-term committed relationship or marriage or not. Okay. So first thing we will check is the position of Moon, and then we'll check the position of Venus, and we'll check the position of Jupiter. Why? Because in today's world of Kali Yuga, people have too many options. People have no threshold. Also, women are financially very successful and career-oriented right now. They do not depend, especially in India, they do not depend on their men, on their husband for a source of income. They can look after their children. The society and their parents are supporting them. It's no more a taboo like the 70s and 80s that the women will take domestic violence and continue with a marriage just because they don't want to talk about it to their family. So things have changed. Rahu has taken over. Everything is technology. People have jobs. People have lots of options. So marriages are not working out. People are not very tolerant with each other's misbehaviors or their mood swings. So which is why the first thing we will check is the position of the moon. Is the moon stable? Is the Jupiter stable? Is Jupiter very well placed? If Moon, Jupiter and Venus, these are the three main planets we will check. First thing in your own chart, and then you check it in your spouse's chart. If Moon is debilitated, then there are chances that there'll be emotional ups and downs. If Jupiter and Venus are not very well placed, there could be other issues. Like if Rahu is involved, there could be cheating or loyalty or integrity issues. If Mars is afflicting it, there could be violence, there could be aggression. If Sun is involved, it could be ego-related issues. No one wants to back down. They just they have arguments and no one backs down, right? So check the strength of these three planets. That's number one you check. Okay, Moon, Venus and Jupiter. Three things, all right? Because Jupiter is the karaka for a husband in a woman's chart, and Venus just the opposite. But Venus overall is the karaka for is the significator of relationships and how you relate with people. All right. So checking the strength of Venus is very, very important. Check for afflictions. Check for conjunctions. Check for the strength. Check for the house. Check if it's 6th, 8th, and 12th. Check it from your moon kundali. Okay, I'm going to put a time card for checking your moon sign. It's very, very important in today's world. For a long-term relationship of any kind, you need to see it from the Chandra Kundali. People do not give so much attention to the moon sign. Everyone looks at the ascendant, but the ascendant is very, very important. But where your moon is placed is extremely important. The transits are seen, should be seen from there. The dashas, your planet placements, a lot of it should be seen from the moon. So pay attention to your moon chart. Don't just keep looking at things from the ascendant. All right. So that's number one. Number two, very, very important. Okay, is your Tithi. Now, what is Tithi? We were all born on a certain day of the moon. All right. For example, Lord Krishna was born on Ashtami, the 8th day of the moon. Okay. And then there is Krishna Paksha and Shukra Paksha. All right. Krishna Paksha is when the moon is getting smaller and smaller. Right. The dark side of the moon is increasing because Krishna is known to be dusky. All right. So we are all born on a certain day of the moon, and that decides our Tithi. And then there is a lot of Tithi. For example, Lord Krishna, or let's talk about Lord Ram. Lord Ram was born on Navami. Remember, Ram Navami. So Navami is the 9th day of the moon. Okay. The Lord of Navami, the Tithi is Sun. All right. So, which is why Lord Ram is known as the ultimate Suryavanshi, is the king. He was born with the Tithi Lord of Sun. So, you need to find out your Tithi Lord. Okay. This is the number one technique and the most effective technique that I have checked in several charts. All right. This is more effective than checking your seventh Lord and D9. We will talk about all those things. All right. There are timestamps you can jump if you like. All right. But this is very, very important. Find out which Tithi you were born. Okay, if you're born in Panchami, like the Nagas, right? Balaram was born on Nag Panchami, right? Your Panchami, if you're born on Nag Panchami, your Lord is Jupiter, right? So you will check the strength of your Tithi Lord in the chart. The most important thing, which means even if your seventh Lord is afflicted, even if there is a bad planets like Ketu or Rahu, a malefic planet, I don't want to say bad because Rahu does a lot of good, but Rahu also does a lot of bad. Okay, is sitting in the seventh house or is conjunct with the seventh house or seventh Lord. Check if your Tithi Lord is exalted. Okay, for example, if you're a Cancer ascendant and you're born on a Panchami, and your Tithi Lord is Jupiter, and Jupiter is sitting in the first house and exalted, then check it in the D9 and see how strong it is. All right. That is one of your main karaka of long-term sustainability of marriage or a long-term relationship. Okay. The reason why I'm not saying marriage all the time is because the Western audience, a lot of people from the Western world, they live together for 10 years, but they could get married after 15 years or not get married at all and have children. Okay. So marriage is not a necessity in some of the cultures. Okay. In India, probably it is, but things are changing. A lot of people in big cities in India are living in long-term relationships. Okay. Now, how do we differentiate is very, very interesting. I don't want to deviate to a different topic, but a 12th house planet is involved to see the difference between a living relationship and a marriage. Why? Because we need a priest, right? Either Jupiter or a 12th house planet. Right, your 12th Lord or any planet sitting in the 12th house. Right, that's the only difference between a living relationship and marriage. In any culture, marriage, there is a priest involved that gets the two people married. Interesting, isn't it? So we will talk about that some other time. And if you have any thoughts, please mention it on the comments. So coming back to the Tithi Lord needs to be checked. The strength of the Tithi Lord is very, very powerful. And if you have a long-term relationship, or if you know someone who has a long-term marriage, I'm not going to say happy marriage. Every marriage has ups and downs, but a long-term committed relationship, and they seem to be all right, and they've not pulled each other's hairs out. Check the strength of their Tithi Lord, and I'm positive you'll find that Tithi Lord is very well placed in D1 and D9. All right. Now, there is a catch with the Tithi Lord. If you're born, for example, let's take the Panchami, people who are born on Panchamis. Jupiter is the Tithi Lord, right? But if you're born on a Thursday, all right, that could be a problem, right? The Tithi Lord and your day of birth may not be a good conjunction. All right. So if you, for example, if you're born on Navami, all right, and your Tithi Lord is Sun, right, and you're born on a Tuesday, and Sun and Mars are conjunct somewhere. Now that is not seen as a good conjunction or a good combination for a long-term marriage. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. You will also check the strength of the Tithi Lord, which means if the Tithi Lord is getting aspects from bad planets, if the Tithi Lord is placed in a good Kendra Trikon house, if it is getting good aspects from the ninth house, the ninth Lord and the fifth Lord, if the ascendant Lord is also supporting it, if it's good in D9, that means it's a sign that your chart is capable of being in a long-term committed relationship or a marriage. Okay. Second one, we already know we have to look at our seventh house and your seventh Lord. If your seventh Lord is in the sixth, eighth, second house, And even in the 12th house, it is not seen very well. However, if the 7th Lord is in the 6th house, it may not be really, really bad. It totally depends on what you and your spouse are doing together. Okay? If your spouse is in charge of, a certain part of your finances and is looking after your health, there are certain things your spouse is doing for you. The seventh Lord in the 6th house can give very, very positive results. Same as if the 7th Lord is in the 8th. So don't think that if your 7th Lord is in the 6th, 8th, 12th, and the 2nd house, you're doomed and your marriage is not going to work out, right? There are ups and downs in all relationships, but we have to see how the marriage sustains. We also have to see the planets from 12th house. If there are natural malefics in the 1st and 2nd house, usually the marriage doesn't last too long. If there are natural benefics in the 1st and 2nd house, the marriage lasts for a very long time. So check this out in your charts. All right. So 7th house, we will see if there are malefics in the 7th house. For example, there is Saturn. The marriage could be delayed. If the 7th Lord is conjunct with Saturn, the marriage could be delayed and you should look at marriage only after 30, 35. There could be an age difference in your partner. You could be interested in partners who are a lot older than you. All right. They could look also like nothing, very, very common looking person. If it's Saturn is the karaka of common people, right? Sun in the 7th house, not a very good position, can have major ego problems. And that is the reason people could break up in their relationships and marriages because of 7. Mars, there could be a lot of aggression. No one backs down again. There could be violence as well if Mars is involved. All right. Ketu, there is disinterest in the partner. There is no intimacy. The partner is very distant. There is no emotional connection. Rahu, there could be cheating issues. Not very satisfied physically. Not very satisfied emotionally. Is looking at different partners. Is bored. After 5-6 years of intimacy, they are bored. They are looking for different things. Wants to change the dynamics of the relationships. Wants to try out different things. Rahu in the 7th house. Or Rahu conjunct with the 7th Lord. So these are the things we need to look at when we are looking at the 7th Lord. I already told you the first thing you check out Jupiter. If usually Jupiter or the 9th Lord of a person is very, very well placed, which means the person is a person of principles. And in today's world, cheating is so easy, right? You just have to install an app and you're traveling to a different city and you can go date someone who's looking out for it. This is how it is. This is how easy cheating is. So in today's world, to sustain loyalty, right, is a task. And for that, you need very, very strong principles and a very strong lagna with very positive influence of Jupiter, which is the main significator of principles in a person, right? In Kali Yuga, in Rahu's time, people are failing to be loyal and principled. And this is one of the main reasons there is so much infidelity, right? And the only people getting rich are the divorce lawyers, right? Okay, so first thing, Jupiter, Moon, stability of mind, very, very important. If you're emotionally not strong, you cannot sustain any relationship long term. All right. Venus needs to be strong for men and women both, because Venus is how we relate to people. Okay, any kind of people, any business, or if it's an intimate marriage relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, it's all Venus, how we relate to people. Is the Lord of the Kalpurush, 7th, Libra. Okay. And then Jupiter, principles, the Karaka of the 9th. All right, very, very important. So the stronger the Jupiter is, it's better. You will be a principle-oriented person, especially. We have to look at what Mahadasha you're going through. If you're going through Rahu Mahadasha, you might have a lot of desires, and it will be very, very difficult for you to control yourself from falling prey to people from outside the marriage and break the marriage. All right. So we have to look at a lot of things. All right. So look at the Tithi after that. Very, very important. Tithi, the Tithi Lord, and how the Tithi Lord is. If the Tithi Lord and the 7th Lord are the same, fantastic. Look at the position of how it is placed. If it is placed well in D1, look at the D9. All right. Last bit, I'm going to talk about D9. D9 is very, very important. We have to look at D9. We will look at D9 as a separate chart. Any planet which is in the same sign in your D1 and in the same sign in D9 is called Vargottam. Those planets are usually very powerful charts, especially D9. Gemini astrology uses D9 very, very differently. All right. Look at your Atma Karaka and look at your Amatya Karaka. Look at your Dhara Karaka, the lowest degree planet. All right. And how the Dhara Karaka is placed in D9 chart. Very, very important. The Lord of the D9 chart is Venus. We have to look at the position of Venus in the D9 chart. If Venus is well placed, if Venus is good, it's a very good sign. We have to look at the Lord of the first house of D9. If the Lord of the first house is well placed, which means it's not in 6th, 8th, and 12th, that is also a very good sign for a long-term committed relationship or a marriage. Then we will look at the 9th house of the D9 chart and see how the 9th house is. Is the 9th house strong? Is the Lord of the 9th house well placed? Then we'll look at the position of the 7th Lord of D1 and see how the 7th Lord is placed in D9. Combination of all these things that I have told you in the order. I know no one is going to get all of this right. Okay, we have to also look at Ashtak Varga. There is no end of it. Okay, but if you get at least 60 or 70% of this, that means your chart is good for a long-term relationship. All right. Be careful of the snares of Rahu. I have made many videos on Rahu. I'm going to add the playlist here all about Rahu, and you can see how Rahu can easily make a person stray from the righteous path of principles. And in a committed relationships, you need to follow principles and the rules of this long-term committed relationship of marriage. All right. Ketu can cause other problems. Ketu can cause sannyasi yoga, where the person has no interest in physical intimacy or relationships and wants to quit everything and wants to become a hermit and has no interest in the material world. So that is a different problem that Ketu causes. Usually Venus and Ketu people have this kind of problems with their relationships. All right. That the partner, maybe the partner is very engaged, but their partners don't think that they are engaged and they have no interest in the relationship, which may not be true, because Ketu is a sign of disengagement. It disengages from anything material. Just the opposite of Rahu. Rahu is too much into material world. With Rahu, it's not always cheating. Sometimes people, I know a couple that they were married for too long. They were doing so many things to make money. They had full-time jobs. They were running 2-3 different businesses. They had absolutely no time for each other. And that is the reason they grew apart. Right? Because they both were chasing money and success in such a way that they drew away from each other. Okay, so let me know what you guys think. I'm always very active on comments, and please don't look at just one or two things and be disheartened that yes, my relationship is not going to work out. It takes two to tango, so check it on your spouse's chart and see how it goes. Also, if you want to see how your spouse is, I got questions that how will my husband be or how will my wife be? So I'll show you a technique. On your D9, whichever is your 7th house, make that your first house. Okay? And that is like the chart of your spouse. So your spouse would be someone like that. So if you have Venus and Moon conjunction in your 7th house in D9, that means your spouse is going to be very, very good looking. All right. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'm happy to talk about it. If you need a consultation, you can contact me on my WhatsApp or drop me an email. I'm happy to talk to you. Thank you very much for your time. Have a nice time. Bye-bye.